Oh my goodness, this episode I know is going to be absolutely epic, magical, and packed full of practical knowledge and wisdom that's going to help you on your wellness journey. We have the pleasure of bringing our personal friend, healer, mentor, Erika Ramelli to the show today. And we're going to showcase how herbs can be your best friend and play a part of your well-being, and how you can integrate them into your busy schedule, because like many of the conversations we have here, it really stems around burnout and how we holistically heal on the pursuit of greatness and our passion and serving our soul's purpose. So I feel like I want to share the whole story of how we met, but I feel like that might take the whole episode. So I'll just leave it with, we have been so blessed and so, I don't even have a word for it, to have been able to witness Erika in her healing modality. We got the pleasure of sitting in her beautiful home under Tesla lights, tuning forks, ozone insufflation, and we went home with the best types of herbs you could ever imagine, from gynostemma to like red or white asparagus. Like, the tea of immortality was crafted by Erika and sent home with us. So when I walked into her apothecary healing underground dojo in this beautiful home, I just had a vision of my future self. Like, this is going to be me. This is going to be the life that I create for myself. So Erika, thank you for being such a bright, shining example in my life and in the lives of many, because I know that your clout is very thick. So can you just take a moment to share your magical story of who you are and what you do to serve this world?
I feel like I need to take a second to just like breathe in this gorgeous introduction first. This is so amazing. Thank you. Thank you. I love you both. I love how you move in the world and how you inspire. It is an honor, like I was saying earlier, to be in your presence, and especially thank you for existing in my lifetime, because we could have missed each other. And I'm so glad that we coordinated landing in a close by geographical location and being able to interact in form. So, yeah, for those that don't know me, I am a master herbalist, among other things. It's kind of funny when I say the I am, because I am not that. That's what I do. I am a divine cosmic being just floating through space,
Yes,
like
we
you
are.
guys are. Like, that's who we are. But I have dedicated my life to studying alternative healing modalities around the world, studied all throughout the Americas, from north of Canada all the way down to Peru. So from Peru and the Quechua and the Quero, Colombia. I'm originally from Colombia and Switzerland. So lots of tribes and groups in Colombia, like the Kogis and the Arhuacos, and in Panama with the Kunas, and then North America, obviously we have beautiful and lots of very alive Native American tribes, in Canada. And then in Asia, in India, in Thailand, in Vietnam, in Taiwan, studying Chinese medicine, herbalism of different sorts, Ayurveda, and then bringing it all together into a very tangible, practical, usable kit that we can use in our urban lifestyles. So that's kind of it.
Yeah, I think you just wrapped that up so beautifully, that you have so much deep wisdom. You're not just someone who picked up a book yesterday. You were born into this lifestyle. You were brought up by so many other teachers and healers who were people of the earth, not people of Instagram. And I think that's why I revere your wisdom and your knowledge so deeply. And I honor it, because I know that you're walking this path. And every day, I mean, for the years that we've had the pleasure of knowing you, you embody exactly what you teach. And I think that's so beautiful as a conscious leader, and we need more of that. And your journeys are, I had the pleasure of I'm still rubbing that apricot oil all over my face and hair and body, because I've had the pleasure of getting to soak up your knowledge just as you came back from a trip to India, because you're all about sourcing the most potent and pure products that you create. And so not only do you teach these practical tools to help, how can we, and we'll talk about that. What are the 6 things that we can put in our toolkit, essential oils and herbs, to help us when we get burnt out or overrun or stressed out or too much anxiety and inflammation in the body? You do a beautiful job of that, but the way that you do it is just so different, because you actually care about the quality behind it and how nature is here to support us. So I'm just so grateful and honored that we're all going to get to soak up that wisdom. So I know today we want to talk about how you can use those herbs in your day-to-day life so that you don't feel bogged down with like more to-dos and, you know, more learning that we have to do. You can condense that and distill that into a little practical herbal home kit in ways that you can support your well-being. So I'd love to dive into maybe a little bit more about your backstory, but also how herbs really became the forefront of your passion and your studies.
I love that. Thank you. So, how about if we, for those that are listening, tuning in today, first, this is one of those podcasts where you're going to need a pen and paper. So, if you can just now, just quickly run over and make sure you have something to write with, that would be lovely. I think right now we're moving into a space where people are a lot more aware that they do have power, they do have control, they do have sovereignty, and that plants are really on this planet to help us stay happy, healthy, and wealthy, like I say, and that 100% of all the pharma has been using the raw material of herbs in order to make these compounds. So today we're going to talk about stress management, we're going to talk about immunity, we're going to talk about sleep, and some things that you can use at home in a very simple, practical, accessible way. And then I'm also going to talk about sourcing the best you can afford, right? Not the best that's available, but the best you can afford. So if you can make that transition from the soda pop or the juice to maybe a tea, okay, then let's make that transition. And then we do something that is financially comparable, maybe a tea that you can buy at the supermarket and you brew your own tea and you add a little honey and wonderful. Like we talk about that. And then what to do once your budget allows maybe for a little more powerful, a little deeper, then what do you source? Where do you go? How do you mix those herbs? I think today that could be a good path. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be absolutely beautiful. And it's amazing. There's something that I want everyone to listen to because it's
not just her beautiful accent either.
It's also, it's not just the information. Like what I remember when I first met you, there's a certain presence that you have that's different. And anyone who's been around you, I've gotten to see you speak live now. I've gotten to see you interact with people. And I can see it's the same feeling that people are getting. That's the same one that I had. Because when you think of like, what is an herbalist? You think about, you know, someone who lives in the forest and they're just picking up mushrooms on the ground and things like that. But and it's maybe a little wacky.
She does that on the weekends.
Right. So it's that, I know for a lot of us, it's that feeling. But it's when we were with you, it felt like home. It felt like there was an understanding that you had, and it felt so safe. It was such an interesting feeling. It was like whatever walls, you know, I may have had as I walked in, they just like completely lowered down, and it felt so like this is the space I need to be in. It was almost like I was being called toward you, which it was just I was overwhelmed. It was really cool, and your wisdom was so good, and I love that you can get started with this stuff very easily. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to, you have to go out and buy a fortune worth of a medicine cabinet of, you know, twigs and berries and stuff. You can get started really easily. So where, as a person, if they have no idea, they've never done this, they've never been on this journey, they've been just the normal of what you would think everyone is doing, where would we get started? Like, how do we start to get our feet wet and say, oh my gosh, look how beneficial this is to me? Because I know for my own self, when I started discovering what plants offer and like what a lot of the natural healing modalities can do, I was like, holy smokes, how are more people not doing this? And I think it's because we haven't met you yet. I mean, I really think that because the second we got together, I was tuned in, I was turned on to what possibilities are out there. I mean, you've been a big marker in our journey. And like that moment we met you has been something super significant in our lives. So where do we get started?
Oh, I love it. Okay. So we get started in working with herbs with a check-in. That's how I recommend that you start, and that's how I start my days. Herbs are like clothes, not one size fits all, and not one style is the style that everyone likes. Okay, so let's start with the check-in. And what does a check-in look like? You wake up in the morning, you take a deep breath, you express gratitude for this amazing opportunity of being alive in this planet, and then you scan your body, your feet, your legs, your tummy, you take a deep breath, and you look for tightness. Or is your body happy and relaxed? Sense of energy? Are you feeling like there's a lot of vitality and you're ready for the day? Or you're waking up a little tired, a little drained, like you're kind of dragging that day? You take a deep breath. How do your lungs feel? Do you feel like that one day you were able to just take a deep breath and soak in the day and you're like, yay? Or you felt a little tightness and shortness of breath. You check your mouth. Are you dry? Is it pasty? Are you thirsty? Okay. When you do that check-in, I want you then to transition into what do you have to do today? Because those two are very closely related. If you feel tired and you don't have a lot to do today, then could you afford in maybe staying in bed a little longer, or maybe having a slow day, and that's the day where maybe you're going to do some chores around the house and maybe you don't have to get fully dolled up and ready. So could you afford a downtime or not? So that check-in for me is super important because it's going to determine the first beverage that you have in the day. So the moment that you do your check-in and you realize I'm tired, tiredness equals your kidneys are a little taxed. Your body is a little high in toxicity. You do need a little boost. And at that point, what are the herbs that are going to boost that energy? And here I can think of 3 like go-to hell yeses. Number 1, cacao. Number 2, reishi mushrooms. Number 3, green tea, Camellia sinensis. I'm going to be talking a lot about her because she's amazing. She is the plant of tea. And the plant of tea, Camellia sinensis, is the one that gives birth to green tea, to oolongs, to pu'ers, to matcha, to all of them actually come from the same plant called Camellia sinensis. Is the process that's different. So those 3 are going to be part of your go-to for sure. Then we do a combination. If you're a person that psychologically needs your coffee, and I'm not saying physically, I'm just saying psychologically there's a relationship between you and your morning coffee, and it's part of your ritual, then you are going to add to that coffee some cacao and some mushrooms, some medicinal mushrooms. So now you're converting that beverage into a really beautiful, high vitality boosting elixir. Now, here's a trick for you, all of you that are listening. Coffee in general, you might heard about acidity and alkalinity in the body. So coffee is acidic. It's normally about 5.5, just a little below 6 in acidity. But if you add oat milk or almond milk to it, you bring the pH up. If it's oat milk to like 6.8 or so, if it is almond milk, it actually boosts to the other side of alkalinity and it becomes an alkaline beverage. So I'm okay with you and me drinking coffee, as long as we enhance it and realize that it's creating a certain level of acidity. Cool. So you do your check-in. If you realize that you do need a little boost, cacao, reishi mushrooms, and matcha or Camellia sinensis green tea are going to be your go-tos. If you realize that you're thirsty, then please have some water. Honor that. A lot of people just go straight to that coffee machine and they go, I'm thirsty, I'll just deal with the coffee. Please have some water. So that is really important. And then what do you do with that water? I would love it if you take advantage of that first cup of water and actually enhance it. So one of the things, for example, that I love to add is some drops. This is an immune boost. You can add some chlorophyll. You can add, take some activated charcoal. Do I have activated charcoal here? I brought some goodies to share with you guys. So activated charcoal are little capsules, black, And they're amazing to help the body detox, flush, especially if you're hangover. Maybe you took some customers out to dinner, you had a big event, and then in the morning you have to give a presentation. Maybe you've been traveling and you need to be on point when you show up. So activated charcoal, 2 capsules at night before you fall asleep, 2 capsules in the morning with a glass of water would be amazing. So that is something that I do. And to start, then that's how I would start my day. First, you do your check-in, and that is forever and ever moving forward what you would do.
I absolutely agree. And just on our last podcast that we were sharing is the first thing I always teach the women that come to my retreats, and my personal practice is waking up, gratitude for the day, and what do I need? What do I need right now is that first check-in. And you're right. Some days we need more, some days we need more sleep, less energy, like from coffee rather than our own physical rest. Like, it's so important for us to pay attention. And like you, we love to add a little Celtic sea salt to our morning water as a part of our ritual, and always enhance the drinks that we're making, and making sure that that first drink is kind of setting the intention for how you want to feel for the rest of the day. It is very important to make, for me at least, if I'm going to work out and do all these things to live holistically and healthfully and reducing chemicals and processed foods, like that first intake of energy and food, I think is, to me, one of the most important, and how you like create that relationship with your body.
Yeah. So I want to know, where's the next part you're looking for herbs? Where's the next part in your day you're thinking like, this is the time for me to like, okay, let's go back to the earth and figure out how it can assist us in our current life. Where are you looking next?
So I want to make sure that throughout the day, you make this whole idea of working with herbs really accessible. So yes, you're not going to go to India to go source apricot oil, because why?
We'll do it for you.
I already did it for you. Yes, exactly. So you want to incorporate herbs mainly in 4 ways. And are you ready? Okay, write this down. The first way is teas. That is just the simplest, easiest, supermarket available. Like, you just go through that aisle and you get your hibiscus, you get your echinacea, you get your mints, and so on. So just tea is an amazing form, or a really infusion. Like the technical term is really an infusion, because anytime that you refer to tea, you're working with the Camellia sinensis itself. So an infusion of herbs. The next is essential oils. So just making sure that you have essential oils, and I'm going to give you here tangible advice on how to use essential oils in a very practical way. The third way is in your food. So what are the herbs, plants, flowers that should be part of your daily food intake, and why? And then the fourth aspect on working with plants is around you in your environment. So in your home, what kind of plants are in your home? In your vases, what kind of flowers do you have around? In your clothing, in your print, like really bringing this energy, because the herbs, plants, flowers have an energetic component. So what do you have in your front yard, in your backyard? Okay, so is this a good place to start? Maybe we can just break this forward down. All right. So when we think about herbs in general for teas, not all are the same. Normally, what you're going to find in a supermarket is a lower potency of herbs. And what you would find with some people like me and other herbalists is the extreme on the other side of pure organic. I am an herb snob. I ask for soil reports. I want to make sure that they're not using pesticides and herbicides. So all of the stuff that I have is organic, virgin, like super certified. I have the reports that come with the herbs, and I source all over the world. So I do have a brand, and the herbs that are in the brand, even though they look like a lip balm that you've seen before, or a tea or an herbal product you've seen before, really the ingredients and the potency of them is very, very different, and therefore you need very little. Okay, so those are going to be your caps.
Yeah, I can attest to that because I've been using your teas, your skincare, your lip balms, your everything, and even your essential oil. Like bringing it back to just a eucalyptus oil that I run in the salon compared to something I've grabbed from Sprouts. The quality is absolutely pure, and my skin just soaks up everything that you've created because there are no extra additives and fillers and all of that. So a little bit goes a very long way. I still am working on the first bottle of oil, but then when you came back with the even more fresh apricot oil, I'm like, okay, well, we gotta switch to that. So I feel like the quality is beyond anything I've ever come across, and that's why I wanted to showcase Better Humans and everything that you do and create, not just your wisdom, but also you've taken that wisdom and put it into products that we don't have to go to the Himalayas to source the best of the best ingredients. So thank you for that. And everyone, seriously, check out Better Humans products. She doesn't just know a lot about this, she actually creates it for you to use as well.
Yes, and all this started because I was consulting for resorts and spas. So I was the herbalist that launched a lot of the wraps for Four Seasons, Six Senses, St. Regis. A lot of these fancy spas now have amazing teas or face masks or body wraps of algae and cacao and papaya and this and that. And so I was able to take my wisdom to them and create some really beautiful things. So those recipes have been implemented in wonderful locations. So the teas. Please always have, and we're going to use the same principle for essential oils. And we're going to work with these 5 basic ones. 1, always have a menthol of some sort. So when you think about essential oils, please have at least these 5 bottles handy, okay? Same with teas or herbs. So a menthol. Menthols are peppermint, spearmint, lemon balm, oregano, rosemary, those kind of like menthol effect. Have a citrus. Well, I guess let me tell you why. Yeah. So when you work with menthols, they help with breathing. They help open up your lungs. They help purify the blood. They help clear up passageways. They're amazing as all of them, antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral. So they're really beautiful in assisting your immune system. Now, behind your breastbone, you have the thymus gland, and that is really where all of the immunity gets kind of triggered. So this is the command center of your army. And that is where they're going to be deployed from. So anytime that you're working with herbs and menthols that really help the immune system, you're really helping breathing and the absorption of oxygen. Parallel to that, you're going to need a high antioxidant diet. Okay, but we'll talk about that later on. So menthols. Second is citrus. These are going to be your purifying agents. So a citrus in essential oil is going to be your lime, your lemon, your grapefruit, your tangerine, your bergamot, like all of those that are in the citric family. They're going to be your purifier, your detoxing, your flushing. You can pour them directly over your liver and rub it in. You can make cleaning products with them and clean your counters with vinegar and essential oils that are used with citruses. You can use them in diffusers and purify your space. So always have a citrus that you love. Third is going to be your emotional well-being. And your emotional well-being is in the gentleness and delicate essentials of flowers. This is where the vibration of emotional well-being comes to be. So having a flower that you love is really important to balance emotions and help de-stress. So here we have rose, queen of the queendom. Rose, jasmine, magnolia, ylang ylang, neroli, all of those beautiful flowers that really help kind of nurture the emotional system. One of the very expensive ones, you know which one it is? Like I just bought an essential oil bottle, a tiny little bottle for $1,000. And that bottle is a bottle of the flower champaka. And that is highly revered by a lot of the old Egyptian queens and pharaohs way back then. She was the flower of royals, and she was the one that really helped balance emotions and calm the nervous system and give a sense of royalness to them. So Champaka is at the top of that pyramid.
I'm coming over. I'm coming over.
Really amazing. Okay, so you have a flower. Then I would love for you to have a tree or a grounding conifer. Okay, so here we have pine, spruce, fir, cedar wood, sandalwood, like all of those woods, Palo Santo. Have a wood, because sometimes our emotions are all over the place and emotionally we're kind of in the air. We do need to have something that helps us stay grounded. Maybe we have too many ideas. Maybe we're getting pulled in too many directions. There's kids and there's work and there's your own personal goals and dreams, and there's not enough time and you feel like you're just getting diluted through life. So a tree would be really helpful in this case. So working with the energy of white pine, of red spruce, of Siberian fir needle, like those are amazing. Put a few drops on your chest or your solar plexus, the base of your spine, and feel immediately just grounded. Same thing with your kids. Maybe your kids are just running crazy a little bit all over the place. Put 1 or 2 drops on their spine, the base of their neck, their feet, to kind of help anchor that energy. So that's a beautiful one to have. Again, on your body or on diffusers, you can also make pine needle tea packed with vitamin C. So amazing. And then the 5th one is the one that smells amazing to you. You need to have that one that you just smell it and you go, oh my God, I could just like sniff this bottle all day long. And that one is a wild card for all of us, right? It could be you're just smelling and then suddenly you have one that just kind of really vibrationally connects with you. So I think this is a very good place to start. And that also applies to the teas you're going to have at home, the essential oils, and the plants that are going to be around you. Okay, so let's go back to the list. You have a menthol, a citrus, a flower, a tree, wood, conifer, and one that is just speaking to you.
Erica, what's one that just speaks to you? Like, what's your favorite scent? What is yours?
Oh, goodness. I don't know if I am in a position of choosing one, especially having so many around me that can hear me. It's like
offending your babies.
It's like I'm speaking in front of them. But okay, let me see if I have one here. Yes. So there's 2 that those are mine. Green cardamom. I love green cardamom and I use it in everything and for everything. I use it on my body, I use it in my food, I use it in my teas, and frankincense. I think those are the ones that really speak to me. Yes.
I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Green cardamom and frankincense. Yes. So I think that would be a beautiful place to start. And then just make sure you asked me earlier when throughout the day. Now you really begin to incorporate them through your routine. So one way would be to have a bottle of maybe rosemary essential oil or eucalyptus essential oil close to your shower. You add a few drops in your hand, rub your hands together. Careful with your eyes, please. Okay. And then with the steam of the shower, just take a deep inhale and allow that moisture and that beautiful plant to kind of enhance your shower experience.
I feel, I mean, because I'm so visual, I'm like smelling the
eucalyptus. I know
I've got plants next to me, like we're just hanging out over here. Like I'm just feeling this energy so deeply. And it's so beautiful, the power of smell. It's one of those senses when activated, it immediately cuts through all the noise and brings you back to the present moment. So not only do the power of plants can help you heal, it also can bring you into the present. So can you share some of those plants that you have within your home that help create, we have pothos because they're air purifiers, or snake plants, things like that. Can you talk to our audience about the plants that you would recommend to bring in that high level energy?
Yes. So those two for sure, right? The pothos, there's one back here. The snake plant, the lilies, those all help purify the environment and clear your air. And also some of the plants normally clear the air, so they create photosynthesis throughout the day, and then at night they compete with you for oxygen, whereas these actually generate oxygen at night, so they're really helping your environments, and you can have them around your home. I have a lot of flowers. Like, I love vases with flowers, and there's flowers all over my house, and when the flowers break or the stem, I cut them, and I have this beautiful bowl with floating candles, and I just put the actual flower directly on the water with floating candles. And so I really honor them and acknowledge them in any way I can. So vases, yes, the pothos, yes, the snake plant, some peace lilies are definitely around. I have aloe vera around the house also, and I have them specifically towards the entrance of the house, and they've been instructed to kind of catch those energies for me. So having cacti around the entrance of your home, either outside or inside, it's really beautiful to kind of help capture all of the energies that come through the house. And I have them with crystals, and those specific crystals were also instructed to just, your job is to capture whatever does not vibrate like me or higher. So that's
it past the crystals in the cactus.
so that is something that I definitely do. I do have diffusers in different parts of the house, and part of my routine, so I talked about my check-in in the morning, and then that determines my beverage. Throughout the day, I normally have a pitcher of some kind of herbal blend that I've made. And for those of you that are listening or kind of going, well, herbs don't taste as sweet as juice, or what do we do? I don't know. I can't get the hang of it. There's a plant called stevia, and not the stevia that you would actually buy at a supermarket as an extract of the molecule, but the actual stevia plant. Like, it is a green plant that you can plant in your backyard or in a pot. And the leaves are sweet, and they turn your beverage super green because they're packed with chlorophyll. So I love them. So working with the plant of stevia is wonderful. It is a sweetening agent. You can work with hibiscus. It gives kind of this refreshing feel. It's going to turn your herbal blend bright pink. And now that we're moving maybe into holiday season, you can make ice cubes with the hibiscus, and they're going to be red ice cubes. So this is also kind of a fun way of decorating your beverages and incorporating plants in ways that are fun and useful. So maybe you gardened, maybe you have a lot of herbs and plants that right now, as we move into the winter times, might dry. So please harvest them, chop them up, and turn them into ice cubes. Actually, this one not with water, but with oil. So you can fill your ice cube trays with the herbs chopped up, fresh herbs, and olive oil. You freeze it, and then whenever you want to cook or make your pasta, your recipe, whatever you're doing, your nice potatoes, you just pop one of those herbal oiled infused cubes. And that's a beautiful way of working those herbs into your food, into your daily routines in a very simple way. And then making it a must that every night, just about an hour before you go to bed, I do my round around the house, and I turn all of those diffusers on. Just want to make sure that the air is pure and it smells amazing. And so when you go to bed and you've made a mixture, maybe with some peppermint and lavender, it is just now very relaxing and sleep inducing.
That feels so lovely to just embody the healing quality that herbs have. And it doesn't have to be hard. Everything you've shared is almost a part of our normal daily routine. Everyone gets up and drinks something. Everyone eats food, so we can incorporate the herbs. Not everyone has plants because, you know, the story of I don't have a green thumb or not, but there are plants like Erica's mentioned here that don't require a lot of effort. Snake plants, you can leave alone for a long time, just give them a little dribble of water occasionally, and they're good, and they're still there to support you. So the last area that I want to talk about is more of those herbs that you can eat in your day-to-day life. One of the herbs that we love consuming every single day is cilantro to help decalcify the pineal gland. You know, us psychics, we need to keep our channels clear.
Yes.
And that's one herb that we know helps to remove some of those toxins. Are there other herbs that can be incorporated? Like you said, just throw some rosemary in your olive oil and there you go, you have cooking cubes. Are there other herbs that you can sneak into your food that don't feel like you're just eating grass clippings, but actually nourishing your body?
Okay, so let me share maybe a cool story here about parsley. So we all eat out, and often we have a little sprig of parsley decorating our plates. Most people push the poor parsley to the side, and it gets completely forgotten into the experience. But I would like to maybe share why parsley is on your plate. And it was originally there as a bacterial and mouth cleanser. So the idea is that you had your food and then you chewed on this parsley and it killed and neutralized bacteria in the mouth and it improved digestion. So that is one thing that is super simple for you to do every time that you now see that little sprig of parsley on your plate. It is edible. Please incorporate it. If you go have some sushi and there's a beautiful orchid flower there, guys, it took so much work to get that one orchid flower on your plate. Please eat it. I mean, dip it in soy sauce if you want to, but just having that orchid and recognizing that this flower is there to balance your emotional system and it is there to bring all this beautifying agent to your life, that is another beautiful way of incorporating them. If you buy herbs at the supermarket, and when I say herbs, I could also add onions, and maybe you use whatever you needed for the recipe and you have some leftover, please put them in water. I have like a little cup here. Just put it in water and it's going to grow roots. Just grab some dirt, stick it in by your windowsill, and now you have your basil, your rosemary, well, not the rosemary, it's not going to grow like that, but mint, basil, sage, your onions are going to keep on growing. So those are beautiful ways of just incorporating things. If you look at your plate and your plate looks white and brown, we need some color. Color is where all the flavonoids are at. This is where the antioxidants exist. And if you've been to Brittany's retreats, we talk about chakras, and every one of the chakras has a color, and that can also be incorporated through your food or through the clothing. So making sure in a week's time, if you can't do it every day, then at least in a week's time, did you eat something red, something orange, something yellow, something green, something blue? And just making sure, just keep track in your mind, because those are your flavonoids, those are your antioxidants. This is the food that your soldiers need. That's ammo for your well-being. So if your plates look brown and white, you're lacking by default all of those beautiful ammo for your immune system, for your soldiers.
It's so true. As you mentioned at the retreats, we not only serve your sacred cacao, and I just want to say thank you to publicly that you have been serving this beautiful ritual and ceremony that has been opening the hearts of so many of the women that join this retreat, but also making sure that we provide plant-based food for all the women. And so many of them are like, what is this? I've never seen this before in my life. What are these colors? Fiber for the first time. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to the bathroom every 4 seconds. So I think, you know, we talk about eating the rainbow a lot. And I think you just really nailed it. It's not just because it's pretty, although that does lend to the experience of your well-being, but it also does contain all the nutrients and the minerals that your body thrives on to have that holistic well-being. So it's been beautiful to listen to how you can incorporate teas, essential oils, herbs, and actual plants into your daily life. I've got a question for you, because as someone who can't consume caffeine, it makes my right boob hurt really bad. It's a very interesting experience. What would you recommend to someone who doesn't drink coffee and can't have the caffeine? What kind of elixir would you create?
Okay, so assuming that you do want the caffeine or like the uplifting effect, right?
Right.
So if you're looking for that, there's beautiful plants that bring thein or caffeine as a stimulant. In Americas, we have yerba mate, and mate is the natural American version of the Camellia sinensis plant. So it's just the American version. So yerba mate has a high concentration in caffeine, and so does yopon. Here in Texas, we have wild yopon. You can go on walks and harvest, and you just lightly toast it before you brew your tea. So those two are local to the Americas, and they are packed with amazing levels of caffeine. One of my personal favorites, the one I had this morning, is matcha. So I love matcha because it is green tea, but it is not a tea of infusion. It's a tea of suspension. So they actually grind the leaves of the Camellia sinensis really, really finely. And that is what you mix into your hot water with your chasen. And then it suspends these little particles of the leaf into the water. And so when you drink it, you're actually drinking the fiber of the plant. So I love those two combinations. The fact that you're getting the caffeine and the stimulant, it actually has more caffeine or thein than coffee. And it has the fiber, which you normally don't get with any other tea version. And what I love to do is to add cacao to it, and I make a cacao matcha. And that's what I did this morning. So that is one of my absolute favorites. You talked about cacao. I wanted to show you something. Because a lot of individuals say, well, is it chocolate? No, cacao is the raw material. It's what you use to make chocolate. So it is 100% of the plant, not mixed with anything else. So it has lots of magnesium, lots of potassium, lots of minerals, zinc, copper. I mean, it's really, really good. And what I have done is talk to my suppliers. These actually come from Peru. When you talk about ceremonial grade, they normally sell it in a brick. Okay, it is, and I honor them and wonderful. But again, we were talking at the beginning of our talk today, how do we make all of these amazing ancestral practices available and useful and easy to our urban lifestyle? So we have them actually pressed in these tiny little wafers. And this is a game changer, because now you can literally just eat one at a time. This is 2.5 grams, so you know more or less how much cacao you're getting. You can add it to your coffee. It will melt. You just whisk it. So it's a very useful, very practical. And I find it that people tend to incorporate it a little bit more into their life. If it's not the big brick that you need to shape, and then you really have to wait and not have any idea how much cacao you're consuming. Yeah. So for a ceremonial grade, you would go about 15 to 25 grams. But for a regular hot chocolate, and now we're moving into hot chocolate season, having this purity into your water, you can add a little milk to it if you want, some cinnamon, some cardamom, some cloves, some vanilla, some cayenne as a stimulant. Now you can really play with a stimulant elixir that is replacing of that coffee in the morning. So another thing that you can do is dandelion. There's a few brands right now out there that sell a dandelion blend that is stimulant and replaces coffee, and obviously medicinal mushrooms. So we have amazing mixtures. This is the one you were talking about. So we make these mixtures of mushroom. This one has 8 different kinds and very potent. They're 10-to-1 ratios. This is what you would add to your water or to your coffee or to your hot chocolate to enhance it and turn it into a very powerful life boosting elixir.
And speaking of elixirs, we really were so lucky to have you speak and teach at the Summer Solstice Wellness event, where you guided us through your own personal cacao ceremony, where you invoked the spirits and you sang and you showed us what it looks like to embody a real ritual and practice that reveres the sacredness of the plants and where it came from. Not just, hey, here's some chocolate powder, mix it with some oat milk, and now your heart chakra is open and you're blessed with abundance. Like, you really do a beautiful job at embodying the rituals. And I just, again, want to thank you for always providing the sacred cacao for the goddess retreats and also being present at the last Summer Solstice event and guiding us through that cacao ceremony. I feel like I want to take this time to put you publicly on spot. Like, would love to have you back next year to do the same magic, because I mean, you captivated the audience, and you also shared these 5 essential oils, and I watched everyone take diligent notes and really soak up the wisdom that you had. So I know that everyone listening today is wanting to soak up more of that magic. And before we finish up and share where they can come into your Better Humans world, I'd love to tap on really quick, since you mentioned moving into those winter seasons where we call it sugar season around here, because it's not really like winter is sick season. It's because it's an increase of sugar. So what are some of those natural remedies that you could kind of, get your warriors on guard and ready to prepare for the increase of sugar, if you will, and the decrease of vitamin D? How can you naturally and holistically ready yourself for wellness, knowing that we're moving into a different season?
I think we're going to need a whole podcast just for that.
Well, round two works for me.
Just on like what to do during these winter months, because it looks different for everyone. We're going to have individuals that are going to be really social. So now we have 2 things: the social aspect of it, of going to events and Christmas parties and so on, family dinners, and the ones that actually retreat completely and they go into this emotional cocoon of hibernation. And I feel that they're different approaches, right? So one of the things that is a must for sure is that you begin to incorporate healthy fats into the body. So before you stuff your face with wine and cheese, just start your day with an avocado toast, because those healthier fats or that smoked salmon toast is going to give you a certain curb so that you don't just dive into the cheese tray at that Christmas party. So we would like to avoid that. Having an immune boost. This is a time where people are going to be sniffling, and then you have like this temperature change. So making sure that your immune system is nice and strong is very important. And then my favorite plant for that, easy, available, that everyone has at home, is oregano. Like, how simple is that? So oregano, you can either have it in your backyard or you can have it in your pantry because you cook with it. So oregano is super antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal. Making an herbal tea of oregano with mint, spectacular. So that is great, because now you're really boosting your immunity. So that would be something to do. And then the sugar aspect of it, honey, raw local honey. If your honey says that it comes from Minnesota and you're in Texas, that's not the honey you should be consuming, okay? Honey should be local, because you're getting a little bit of the influx of the plants in your area, and that is going to help you for the spring where there's pollen everywhere. So this is also a beautiful time to prepare for the spring using local pollen, local honey into your recipes, beverages, and so on. Oh, one super important thing about honey: do not use boiling water. Actually, any of my plants, any of these things, do not use ever boiling water. It's too hot and it breaks down the molecule, the medicinal compounds that we're after, that we're spend so much time sourcing, that we're really investing our dollars into. So you want to use water that's below boiling, way below boiling. Okay.
Oh my gosh. It's so brilliant how you're able to give this practical advice. And I think that's just like I talked about, I know at this point, everyone can hear the energy I was speaking to. Like there's a certain feeling you give, because it's not just about wisdom. You have to distill it down. You have to make it so that even though you've researched and you traveled and you've done all these things, you met with the shamans and the people and all that, regular people need like an itemized, okay, like what do I do now? We need those directions. And you're
like, we've seen oregano our whole fucking life, but until you hear the way that you describe it and how it can support our well-being, I'm like, I want to go bathe in it right now.
Yeah. So I want to shine light on what your company. I want people, because I know people can be like, I need more of this. I have to know more.
I need these elixirs in my body right now.
Because we're definitely going to have you on here for, if not 100%. one more podcast, like multiple, because there's so much.
Seasonal updates.
I know, absolutely.
100%. Like I would love people to have access to you just in the same way that we've had access to you. So tell us a little about your company, what you offer, and how people can learn more information about you. I know it's people be like, I need it right
now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. So I have been doing this for over 20 years. This is, and I started working with herbs when I was 7, 8, 9 years old. It's not a course I talk. It's not something that I thought would be kind of cool to sell. This is my life. This is what I do. So you have right now the real deal. People can book a free consultation on my website. We can talk live. Yes, me, like I am on the phone with you. We'll have a free call. And then from there, assess you. Everything that I have done has been private wellness. We have, through Better Humans, clients in about 18 countries. I work with record labels, touring bands, UFC fighters, CEOs, individuals that are under a lot of stress. And really my go-to, my jam is about stress management and everything that comes through that. That could be weight gain, that could be inflammation, lack of sleep, you can't get pregnant, like whatever it is, it all stems from stress. And so that's what I specialize in. So we book a free call. If you want the products, we do have products that were already prepared for what I see in my clients. So we have a cleansing tea, we have an immunity, we have a serenity, and all of those are infused with this intention of mindful, ritualistic awareness. So they're all labeled after an I am. So when you're drinking it, then you have this I am sacred, sacred. I am sacred, I am immune, I am serene. Like there's a declaration, and I really want your mind to create coherence with the life that you're experiencing. So you can buy the products online, you can book a free call, you can show up to one of our live events, or do something in your company. Britt and I will be happy to show up at your office space and give a stress management class.
And bring the magic. I mean, it is so fun getting to work with you and make magic and help to hold space for others to heal and find and reclaim their sovereignty. It's just beautiful to work alongside your magic. And I'm serious. Everyone needs to go to Better Humans, right? It's Better Humans, right? Is your website?
Yeah, betterhumans.shop. And then through myname.com, ericaramelli.com, you can log in. So my name, you should be able to put my name on Google or your search. And if my team has done a good job, I should be findable. So ericaramelli.com or betterhumans.shop. And I'll see you on social.
Yeah, you definitely need to go shop her products. They are absolutely incredible. I can vouch for every single one of them. Our cabinets are filled with all of her magic. And I am so grateful for you sharing your wisdom, sharing all these practical tips on how people can turn plants into their superpower friends to help support their well-being and holistic living. Now, to end the show, we always like to ask, what does living an elevated life mean to you?
Oh, I love that question. Being present, understanding that you have the power today, right now, to make a better choice. And that also applies to the pizza that you're going to order. So could you make a better choice on that one pizza that you just want to order today? Could you choose ingredients that would be a little healthier? Could you choose a better beverage that day? So it's about being mindful and loving yourself to such an extent that you choose mindfully a better choice for you, for your partner, for your children, for your family, and for your community.
Oh, so add the oregano to your pizza today and you'll be feeling much better. And until then, please go check out Erica on Instagram at Erica Romelli. Her website, we'll link all of this in the show notes, and go soak up some of her skincare because your face will be if y'all are watching the video, if you're not watching the video, go on YouTube, watch the video, because she is glowing, and it's not just by luck. It is by choice and the work that you're doing with plants, holistic and mindful living. Being present is really what makes you shine. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And I know we'll be having you back on the show, and I can't wait to see you in person and hug you again.
I love you both. You're amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for how you move in the world and how inspiring you are. I honor and admire you.
Thank you so much. And until then, we'll catch you next time. Peace.
Bye.